This episode contains sensitive content, including PTSD, mild military combat commentary, and other mental health topics. Listener discretion advised.
Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your Minifigure host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Hopefully you are doing well on this big, blue, beautiful marble that we currently live on. However, maybe one day we will not. We might be somewhere way out in the stars. However, we do have a great interview lined up for you. So let's go ahead and kick it off. We are joined by a YouTuber, but is much more than a YouTuber. He may use the YouTube platform as his focal point, but there's much more behind it. So guys, welcome in Shy from Shy Time is My Time. I know you just cringed. We just said that. I'm not gonna call you out there.
You said it once. It's
hey,
fine.
Shy, welcome on, dude. It's nice seeing you here at the show in Chicago, but it's nice to actually have a face-to-face interview instead of doing like a Zoom or StreamYards or something like that. Yeah. So welcome to the show, bud.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. A long-time listener. First time on here is great.
Long-time
really cool.
listener, first-time caller.
Yeah, this is so great. I'm losing it right now. I'm losing my mind.
Oh, and there goes Martin.
Martin right here.
Martin goes walking by. So your channel, really cool channel. You have two.
Yeah.
Which I forgot about the other one. I was like, is he doing something else? Something new?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got this whole big thing that you do with your own channel. Mm-hmm. But you and I were talking a little bit about some of the stuff you do when you go to shows and stuff like that, and working is we're both Marine Corps veterans.
Yet.
I'm not going to say what I was going to say. I'm going to have to edit it out. But, people say, oh, I was a former Marine. There is no such thing.
No such thing at all.
There's no such thing. Mm-mm. You may say, well, I'm not active duty any longer. Or I'm not currently serving or on reserves or whatever. So tell us a little bit about your channel, and then a little bit about what we were talking about with the VFW type stuff and everything. Because I'm really curious, and I know I have a veteran audience as well.
Okay.
So go ahead and
yeah. So for the YouTube stuff, I've always been like a watcher on YouTube and stuff like that, especially within the Lego world. I got into Lego pretty, I guess, at this point, kind of more recently, I guess 2017, 18, 19 area. But in the 2019 is when I actually started the channel, and I wasn't really like doing much. It was just like, I just want to be present, and like I want to be a part, like I want to like be a part of the conversation, throw little videos out of there. And it was another YouTuber was like promoting me to like, hey, just make a video, see what happens. So I did that, and then it was fun. And then I just kind of got addicted to like just making more content, because I like making videos in general. I've always made videos since I was young. When I was a kid, I used to do the old school VHS pop and save. It was really bad with the camcorder. It was horrible. I did a lot of Marine Corps life, and I did a lot of moto videos. Okay. So anyone who's not familiar with that, it's pretty much just showcasing your unit doing crazy cool things. You can kind of imagine what that can be. So two of the videos that I like to claim for fame, at least in the Marine Corps side, which did pretty well for themselves, were like I filmed a lot, and then I gathered as much footage from military units or all the Marine units that we were attached to. So I was in Afghanistan, for example. I was a part of 3rd Battalion 11th Marines, and we supported 2nd LER, and so we were with them, 2nd Recon, 5th Marines, so we're supporting them. So every time we fired a fire mission, I kind of notated when we fired it. So when I saw them in the rear, I'm like, hey, we did your mission for this, and they'll be like, oh, cool, you guys saved their lives, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, do you have any footage, or anyone you have any footage? And they'll be like, yeah, so we'd swap footage, because I already knew that question when we got home. Inevitably, you're going to get, how was it? You get the questions you don't want to ask or hear. So I'm like, let me just do my unit a favor and just create them like a couple videos that focus on different platoons, different sections, and then you guys can just show your families. So, and when the families are watching these videos, it's PG-13. I didn't show anything they shouldn't have seen. But you're seeing combat footage, or you're seeing it from one perspective. You don't see the other end.
Mm-hmm.
So inevitably, it's PG-13.
Sure.
I guess you can get to rated R stuff, but I mean, like, it's not gory or anything like that. So
Right. It's not meant to be.
Yeah, it's not meant to be. So that way, but it mainly showcased the way we lived and like our lives, miserable in the desert, and all that kind of
Right.
stuff. So those did pretty well on YouTube on their own, and I'm still proud of how those 2 videos are to this day, because it still kind of holds up. All of its quality's bad. The music's kind of like a little bit older.
It's a little antiquated.
Yeah. But I've always enjoyed that. I almost went to school for film, all that kind of stuff. But I just didn't pursue it and went a different route. But getting into YouTube was that fire again, and I kind of deep down inside, I wish I had pursued something in that nature. It doesn't have to be YouTube, but maybe something more entertainment, TV, actual video production, or something like that. So making YouTube videos, I started not necessarily taking it seriously, but I started taking it seriously.
Sure.
Like, upping the quality, what am I talking about? And inevitably, it just came into, I started finding more veterans in the community that are watching my stuff because I subconsciously talk about it.
Sure.
I do a lot of the Brickmania stuff because there's a lot of nostalgia there.
Yeah.
So, I would start reviewing that. Then you'll get the conversations online that you'll get maybe through DMs on Instagram. They'll say, I watched your last video, or they'll say in the comments. But mainly here in places like this, when you actually get an opportunity to talk to people, these veterans will come up to you and be like, hey, I watch your stuff. And I'm like, oh, cool. What do you like? I just kind of feel like what videos reach out to you. And one thing that's cool with me, I don't have a particular niche, I would say, that I should be technically. Like, I should technically, if you want to go off the YouTube algorithm, you should stick to one thing and just be good at that. But I kind of have, like, I do city, I don't really review anymore, but I do military stuff, more related Lego stuff. Sure. I do like the castle stuff, which is kind of like my thing right now with the Black Falcon Army.
Yeah,
and then you'll find a lot of veterans that like different things, because not all veterans want to do the Brickmania stuff. It's cool, but they can't afford that, or they just don't want to get into that, or they're into the more Lego castle stuff, whatever. Doesn't matter. I'm giving you an excuse to talk to me.
Sure.
And I'm finding it that here it's happening now that they're finally getting to see me and talk to me, and I can do what I do at home, which on the side, before that I'm saying this now, I probably only mentioned like maybe once or twice, kind of hidden on the side. I never really project that I do this, but I do try to take time to go to like local VFWs, Foreign Legions, or anywhere I know there's a number of veterans. Even my own friends.
Sure.
So like I will, if I know they're going through a hard time, if someone reaches out, I'll go ride over there, whatever it is. I'll bring a small Lego set. Usually it's like a Speed Champ, or like something that like build
something 250 pieces.
Yeah. So that way, even if they don't finish it in front of me, it's just something they can continue doing.
Yeah.
It challenges them a little bit. It's not an entry level set, and then it's really what it's doing. It's just forcing them to focus on something that won't let them divert their thoughts into something that they shouldn't be going through. Or even if it is to go through it, then you're going to go through it. We're going to go through it together. And, for me, I have PTSD. Like, I went through some stuff that I wish I never saw, or witnessed, or done. That ate me up a lot. And as I was younger, when we were in, there really wasn't that, network of help.
No.
Yeah, the VA was not. I mean, it's right now, but like it's better. There's programs and stuff that that are available to veterans now that you have to work for to get, but at least it's there, as opposed to before, when they're like, you're good, yes or no, and then you expect us to say yes, because that's just how it was. Whereas when I was getting out as a Marine, as a leader, I made sure that my Marines got help. I know, I can see their eyes, I can see people when there's trauma behind that. So now it's Lego. So back then I used to ride my motorcycle, and that was my escape.
Way to get it out.
Yeah, and that was my focus. I just need to focus. No matter what's going on, I just need to focus. Lego became the replacement of that, mainly because of my children when they were born. Can't ride all the time as I used to. I still do, but
you always have that concern of some knucklehead.
And I've gone down 4 times. Yeah. The last one was pretty bad, but I still ride every now and then. But the Lego was that fix. It was that I can turn my brain off. I can just focus on the task at hand, and then I can breathe. And that's mainly when you start getting anxiety. You're holding your breath. Really, there's nothing wrong with you physically. There's nothing wrong. It's all mental.
Yeah.
So if I tell people that don't do Lego, if you're having anxiety, start doing jumping jacks. Just do 25 until you can start breathing constantly. So when I bring a Lego set to a veteran who's having some sort of whatever they're going through, they're starting to focus, so they're changing their thought process, and then at the same time I tell them to tell me a story. So whatever story they want to tell me is whatever story they want to tell me. If they want to tell me a military story, they can. If they want to tell me, something that happened to me yesterday, they can.
Sure.
But what it's causing them to do is causing them to breathe and think, and it's then calming them down. It makes them a little bit more zenful than they were before.
Sure.
And by the end of it, they accomplished something. Might not be a finished build, but they accomplished something. They did something constructive. And although that is not a cure to whatever they're going, it's a little bit of Neosporin to a burn, I guess. The real thing would be you need to go see a therapist. You need to see a doctor.
Sure.
You need to talk to someone who's professional, who knows what to dissect from what you're saying.
Right, and you're giving the jumping off point.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of veterans, a lot of people in general have a hard time reaching out and taking that first step, making that call, contacting the VA or contacting a mental health professional in general.
Mm-hmm.
And if you happen to be, it's not. I'm not trying to pat you on the back hey, you're doing
that's
this.
Cool.
It's a real thing. Sometimes you need that one person to be right there to kind of break you out of that mold and be like, all right, we got here. Let's see what the next step is.
Exactly. And my unit, luckily for us, we're artillery, so we're a little bit further from the very front, but we get there first before the grunts, and then they go out after us. So fortunately for us, we all made it home. But till this day, we came home in 2009, our last deployment from Afghanistan and Helmand Province. We already lost a bunch since. So you kind of see where that goes. So right now, whenever I talk to a veteran, you always kind of analyze them. First, it's like you do the checks and balances. You're like, hey, who you with? What do you do? You need to make sure they're legit. You answer the right questions, okay? And then, hey, so, how are things going? And then they can go back and forth, and you can kind of evaluate where they are in their lives. Sometimes they won't say anything. They're more reserved, and you kind of have to pry it out. Or sometimes they're like, open book.
Yeah.
The ones that are holding it in, then you can kind of see why. Why are you holding it in? Like, why don't you say anything? And then without saying anything, what's going on.
Sure.
So then you go into further questions. If you're doing everything you can, you're okay. Are you using the VA in any way? Using any of the programs that they have? And most of the time, it's like they don't know anything.
No, they don't.
They don't know anything about it. So it's like then you try to push them in the direction where they can, or at least start to. And the first one the first step that I can do physically for them, because I can't hold their hands.
No.
I can't do that. You have to make an effort.
No, I mean, they have their own personal identifier information they have to give. And they have to get, they could have, a hospital help. Well, so for instance, in Texas, we have the Texas Veterans, I can't remember what it's called, but they will help you get that ball rolling. But not every place is like that.
No.
So it becomes really difficult. So it's really difficult. And I was thinking about this earlier when you mentioned this. So after that entire War on Terror started, 2003? And we're still feeling effects. Yeah, I was going to say more recent than not. The multi-decades long war, conflict, whatever you want to call it. The VA has gotten a hell of a lot better than what it was for
yes, of course.
Those much older Vietnam vets, Korean War vets, World War II vets, those that are still with us and such. But it's really crappy that it took something so severe. Not that World War II and the others weren't, but finally somebody woke up and was like, we've got to do something. Because like you said, you come home from any kind of combat or anything like that, you lost, I've lost a lot of very, very, very close brothers.
Yep.
You still send flowers to individuals and stuff like that, because when you come home, you're home. But like you said, if you're not getting some kind of help, it's always, there's going to be moments where it just pops up in your head.
And that's the thing, is when you're home, you have the time to ponder and think.
And that's
the problem, is when you're over there, you don't have time to think.
No.
You think about this later.
Yeah.
And then when you're home and you have the rest of your life to evaluate your decision making, and then that can be rough. I struggled with that. I still struggle with it to this day. I'm not completely cured. I don't think I ever will be, but I do what I can to keep moving forward for myself and my family. So that's what I got to do. And if I could just be there for one extra day for somebody to give you an excuse, just give you an excuse to do something. And it even just because sometimes I'll find these same veterans. I'm like, hey, did you make your bed this morning, bro? And they'll be like, what? I'm like, come on, you're supposed to make your bed. But it's a very simple task, because if no matter what happens to you at the end of the day or throughout the day, when you go home to a nice, fresh, clean, fit bed, You know, it's
Yeah.
like coming to a hotel room right now.
Yes,
Like
it
you know,
is.
the maids fixed your bed for you. It's all nice. You just want to lay there. And I saw, you know, it doesn't matter how bad your day is. You're coming home to something that's in control,
Right.
and you have, you know, and you were something technically you've already accomplished because you fixed your
Right.
bed. And if you just remember the little things like that, and it goes so far away. So that I think Lego, in itself, bringing it back to what we all love here, it has so much of an impact, more so than, you know, riding a motorcycle.
You're right, and I'm glad you brought it back. So we can do another episode one day.
Yeah, for sure.
We go a little bit deep diver when we're back in our own home studios
Of
and
course.
such. So with Lego, the platform is incredible for that. It not just people that are PTSD or anything like that. Just it stimulates areas in the brain. Some of the brain research that is out there for physical activity. Me being a PE teacher by day. Is incredible. But anytime you're doing some kind of task, hands-on task, like building a Lego City ice cream truck, for the love
Yeah.
of God, it doesn't matter. Your brain is constantly focused. It's stimulated on by that versus something maybe negative
Of course.
at that point in time. So Lego obviously has had an impact in your life. I mean, it's helped you create an outreach for friends, others, and stuff like that. But your channel stuff that you've got going on, let's hear a little bit about that. Like why this weird channel on YouTube? There's a bajillion of them out there. Why? So where did this come from?
So again, it was about just wanting to be part of the conversation and want to get involved, and then it just slowly became a place where, you know, I started making friends on YouTube, and you know, we all come from like different places. It's really odd and really funny because when you were a kid, you were told don't meet strangers on the internet. You know, you can't trust people you don't know. And you know, I come from two worlds: the veteran world and the biker world. And in those worlds, you can't leave something that's worth $20,000 on a table and expect it to be there. No, not even the military. We're gonna take that. Marines, we take everything from everybody. But like here, look at this. Like you have people with so much on the board that everyone's investing to everyone's success. That I can't. You don't see that everywhere. And,
No, you don't.
And I was telling that to a lot of new timers, that same kind of analogy, that like everyone here has a mission of just building something and being creative, no matter if it's just a build, if it's content creation. You know, everyone here wants this to be a cool event.
Yeah.
So, you know, on YouTube, you know, there's that competition mode that you need to fight for, and you kind of have to battle the YouTube analytics and what's trendy and all that kind of stuff. Yes, I understand that. But for me, I just want to be a part of the community, and I don't want to like not be able to have a voice. Like I do want to have a voice and say my own opinions when it's valid or not. I want to share what I do. You know, like if I build something, I'm like, now what? I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I want to show you what
Yeah.
was cool. You know, tell me what you don't like about it. Tell me what you like about it. Tell me how it should go. And my channel has been, you know, it's been, as far as my own personal one, it's been up and down. But you know, I take it serious sometimes. Sometimes I don't. But you know, it's been evolving. At first, it was mainly like the Brickmania and vlogs. Now it's more like Castle and vlogs. You know, and City. It's kind of everywhere. It has no linear.
You
purpose.
constantly change.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
find
yeah.
something about something else, and you get sucked down that
Exactly.
rabbit hole.
And right now I'm with the Castle stuff, but you know, we also have, you know, Cali Bricklick. So that's the other channel that I'm involved in. It involves the Plastic Architect, which is Claire, and Ninja with the Bricks, Ninja. And that's when we get to do stuff like this, which is conversing with the fellow content creator, the fellow fan. And I think just that alone, I mean, that was a branch out. You know, since it's three of us, we kind of made our own channel, made it a thing. And we really got to know different people in the community. We really got to know what makes them tick and why.
Yeah.
You know, like everyone has their own story. Like, why are you here? It's not one. I mean, obviously, we all got addicted to a brick that we can't let go.
But your story is different than the what did they say? There were like 6,000 others that are here or something like that.
Oh my gosh.
There's a different story to everybody's piece of the plastic brick.
Yeah, and not only that, why? So one of the questions we always ask is, what brought you into Lego? And then the second question is, what took it a step further to like share it to the world, whether that be on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever it is. And inevitably, a lot of it's the same. It's like, well, I wanted to just put my stuff out there and see what happens. And at that, it makes it you're more obtainable to like people who are like you, who do the same thing, because, you know, it's more personable. You know, you're easier to, like, if I want to talk to that creator over there, I make content, you make content. You can validate who I am. I'm not some weirdo,
Right.
or you don't know me. It's gonna take time for you to know who I am.
Sure.
I gotta, it's my resume is already on the table.
Right.
So that way, like, I'm not here to do anything. I just want to talk to you. So it's a good, like, icebreaker, I guess you would say, when it comes to a place like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you're going to sprinkle it in there, and you were talking about Castle. So you're not here just to be a fan. I mean, you're a fan of everything, but you're here to display something. You've got a big old display.
You like that,
that's over there.
right?
I do.
Oh, okay. That's where you're going.
We're making this little segment just a little bit at a time.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about the build that you brought today.
All right, so I brought where one of my most successful series on my channel currently is my Black Falcon Army. I started like 2 years ago with just the blacksmith, saying that I'm going to turn this into an army. I bought 10, and then it slowly turned to 50, to 100, to 200, to 5, to 1,000. Now currently it's at 2,000. But I try to tell a story along the way, and tell a story with different type of units like the elephants, the cavalry, or whatever. And it's become a series that's actually been cool to see. And what you see on the table, which is 1,126 Castle Black Falcon minifigures, it took time. It took like 2 years to get to that point. So it's not like I just woke up one day and just bought 2,000 minifigures. I really just it's a budget. It's not priced. It's not cheap.
You don't have unlimited funds.
No. But I will say not buying as much for like Brickmania stuff does help being able to buy that. But I'm someone who's very fascinated with formations, military.
Of course,
drill. You know how it is. I love
yeah.
drill. I would have been a drill master if I went that way, but. I used to see army builds out there, especially in the Star Wars world, where you have these leaderless armies. The clones have it could be Star Wars' fault, but like there's no leader in the front of your formation who's in charge. So I was like, okay, let me teach people how to actually properly make a formation. So add colors, flags, have formations. This is where your leader's supposed to be. And then it's morphed into this thing of personality where your army setup is no longer just an army build. It's a mock using minifigures.
Yeah.
So, I use it as where it's projecting going forward is going to be storytelling. So now these different types of units that I've created are going to be doing, I'll decide to build these little mock vignettes, and then they're going to be doing special, they're going to get ambushed by the enemy. They're going to do this. So there's this whole storyline that I'm going to get with, and that kind of leads to content creation because I need an idea. Like I need a reason to keep making something, and that kind of works. So people are enjoying it. I figured, you know what? This is probably going to be one of the only times you're going to see this whole army like this.
Right.
Because next time you see it, I'm working with other creators here that we might do a collab. So I'm like, how many do you need?
Yeah.
You want my army to go to war with you? How many orcs you bring? I'm bringing 150. Well, then I'll lend you 150.
Right.
You'll have 4 units. Go have fun. Go battle, and then we'll have something else. So then if 4 people want to do that, I can just bring 6 bags.
Right.
Here you go. And now we can tell a story in each one. Like.
Sure.
Oh, we sent the army going this way, and they lost all that. So it becomes a never-ending story that just doesn't end. Inevitably, I do have somewhat of an ending to my own storyline in the lore and castle, which is I bought 1,000 skeletons from Pick-a-Build, and then inevitably there's going to be a clash, a giant battle scene that you're going to see.
Between the undead army and
it's going to be cool. That's where it's at right now. So like a lot of people, the past 2 years have watched this to a point, and then this is the perfect opportunity to show it off before you don't see it again.
Hey, it's a journey. So the build looks awesome.
Thank you.
Super cool. I heard that there was even before I talked to you, the rumor mill had not even the rumor mill, but I guess you could call it the rumor mill. It was circling. It was hearing about the because you traveled by plane, obviously from LA to Chicago, a little bit further than Dallas to Chicago. So you had to pack your stuff up to fly, and it's not like you're building on a little 16 by 16 base plane.
5 feet by 6 feet. Yeah, no. Yeah, I had to pack the castle facade that's behind the, the army. The little backstory on the castle. Really, I only made the castle because I wanted to shoot 1 second of a reel. Okay. So I get that way sometimes where I have this vision of a shot that I want to do. And even if it's 1 second, I will go all out for that 1 second. So if anyone, not plugging myself or anything, but if you'll see the reel of it, where it's just a sound from a song where it booms out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's all I wanted to do. I just want to show that. It booms out of the castle. You see the army in front, and that in itself was all I wanted to do, which is the reason why I built that castle and then filmed it. And I was like, now what do I do with it? So I was like, well, I have it now. Let's just have a facade in the back of the Army. It looks cool anyways. It's a good little backdrop.
Yeah.
And packing that was relatively easy, but I already knew before even going there, this is not going to make it to the end. It was not. It has to be checked in. There's no way I could bring this on the plane. The Army was on the plane with me. That's like $6,000 worth of Lego.
Yeah, I'm not losing this. Somebody's going to have sticky hands.
Yeah, you could lose that. I'll be fine. But you're not losing this. Plus, that's like 2 years worth of sweat trying to obtain that.
Absolutely.
But the castle, I brought it to the checker, and I told her it's a Lego set. Can you if there's any way you could make sure that it doesn't get tossed around? She looked at me and gave me a smirk, and she's like, "Are you serious? Are you not familiar with what happens to bags, even fragile ones?" And I'm like, "No, what do you mean?" So she put it up on the conveyor belt and just pushed it, and it went boom. And I'm like, but on because I filmed it, I was like, well, might as well film it. If it's gonna come broken, I'm gonna make content out of it. And that's the thing. In the very beginning, is like if whether it comes here broken or it comes here intact, I'm gonna film it and it's gonna be a video. That's all it is. So I'll make a negative to a positive. Right. But when she dropped it, my face was like in tears because that's just the beginning. I don't get to see the people that actually throwing it into the plane. Yeah. So when I finally got here, I picked it out of the conveyor belt and I didn't hear anything. I'm like, oh, okay, it's still good. I wrapped it in bubble wrap, saran wrap. Everything was saran wrap, so at least the pieces were together.
Gotcha.
But when I brought it here and I opened it up, it wasn't that bad. The main gate was cracked in half.
Okay.
So I just had to smush it together. The walls were crumbled, so I had to start all over with those.
Sure.
And the small towers were doing okay, and the corner towers I have to break those down. There's no way I could travel it looking like that. So those were already individual saran wrap. So it really wasn't that bad. It was a 12-hour setup, but it was cool.
But hey, you managed to get it back together.
Yeah.
And the nice thing is it can be rebuilt.
Yeah. You know,
it's not like some kind of I don't know, anything out of another hobby where it's broken. Yes, it may be able to be fixed, but not for a show like this.
Exactly. And that's a beautiful Lego, right? Is like you break it, you get to enjoy the process of rebuilding it.
Absolutely. So with Lego on the brain, everybody has a Lego journey. They start somewhere. Some people, the minute they pop out of the womb, they grab a plastic brick and it's with them the rest of their life. All right. Before we move on any further, we've got to take a quick break. We will be back in a moment. Where did your journey begin? It hasn't ended yet. But
no.
Where did it begin?
Like from the very beginning?
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So I was into Lego as a kid, and as most of us were, I would presume. At one point in their lives, they had one Lego set, right? You know, they might not have been like a heavy fan like how they are now, but you know, they picked up a Lego set. I was a fan as a kid. Like I had all the '90s sets. So as far as like pirates, Western was my favorite theme. Okay. You know, Castle. My first Lego set was the Black Knight's Castle. I was given to that as a second hand-me-down from my mom's friend. She gave it to me, and that was it. I was hooked. So all I wanted was Lego. But until I was pretty much an adolescent with high school, you know where that goes. So
I'm out of there.
Yeah. So what really put the I'm not buying Lego anymore was when I went to Iraq. After high school, I graduated. My mom and I were technically homeless. It wasn't by like we lost our job or anything. It's like we were just renting. They sold a house. So she knew I was leaving for boot camp, so she didn't really look for a place. So I had to put all my stuff in storage. It is what it was, Lego included, but everything from high school, when being born to that point in my life was in storage. So when I went to Iraq, I gave my mom like 12 checks. Okay. Like this is before automatic payment. Yeah. This is like 2005. Right. You know what I mean?
You're signing the check ahead of time.
Here, you have 12 different checks. As I was coming home, she missed one because she's prepping for me to come home. Right. You know, she's
got other things on the brain.
Yeah, and then I gave them the primary phone number was my mother's number. They called it. She didn't pick up. She didn't know who they were. So
stranger danger.
They tried calling me. I'm not here. I'm overseas. So they auctioned it all off.
Oh no!
So the Lego was all gone. Yes, that hurts. But what really hurts more in that loss was like the pictures, albums. I had a really expensive violin in there that I can't replace. Like a bunch of other things like that. The Lego all aside. In the end, I was like, can I just have the photos? I know you auctioned off. Can I just have the photos and videos and stuff like that? And they're like, we can't. So I chewed them all out and then I left. So since then, I couldn't touch the Lego. So I walked by a Lego store. I couldn't do it. It was just a reminder of that. But you know, it was so hurtful. It's like I lost everything in the fire. That's pretty much what it felt like. So, but with no cool story. It's just like lost everything. So
I mean, there was a semi-cool story to it. I mean,
I guess that's a cool story now that I think about it. But what really took me back was the Assembly Square and Parisian restaurant.
Okay.
So every year, having a city was always like a dream of mine. I had a little town as a kid, but as an adult, I have adult money. So I'd walk by the Lego store, and every new module that would be showcased, I was like, oh, this is cool. I want this. And then I had a kid. He was 1 at the time. I went in there and I made the excuse, be like, you know what? I think we can build this.
Yeah.
So I bought Parisian restaurant in Assembly Square right away. And then I took it home. I built it with him on my lap. He's just not doing anything. And I made the excuse that he and I are building, and it's going to be a cool father-son thing. And it really wasn't. It's mainly just me with him there. And, it started with the modulars. I started getting all the ones that were available at the time. Got all those. Started getting the ones that were recently retired. Discovered that there was Bricklink, so I had already spent money on Amazon.
No.
Yeah, it was bad. And then, eBay, all that kind of stuff. And then I inevitably got all the modulars aside from Market Street. And then that was it. But now my kids like Lego. Not to the point where, not like kids out fans like Lego. They're
not dad.
Yeah. No. Well, the thing is, like, they see it all the time.
Yeah.
They're like not impressed.
Right. Yeah. It's not this golden chalice that they're trying to get.
It's more like they see something cool. It's like, oh, daddy's gonna get that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like when I take them to like one of my friends' houses and they're looking at their Lego collection, I ask them, what do you think? They're like,
it's not dad's.
It's not what we have. Daddy, you have that, right? You have that. Yeah, that's cool. I'm like, okay, so you don't even appreciate any of this.
Yeah.
Like I sweat for this. So and then so that was pretty much it. The Lego City got me back. I discovered the military thing because I was curious. I was like, where? Because I didn't know the rule with Lego. With the military.
Yeah.
I didn't know the
Which
rule.
I don't think most people did.
Yeah, don't.
Like I didn't know until somebody told me. I'm like, well, why don't we have any like fighter jets or stuff like that? Why don't we have it? And obviously, there's a reason to it.
There's a reason to it. I understand. I'm hard headed with it. I always throw it out.
I'm like, well, I had GI Joes. They had guns and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Tanks.
Like, who saved you twice? Sorry, that's a very American thing to say. But I understand why they all want to do that. Is an excuse, but I'll support Brickmania or Brick Veteran, anyone that wants to do that, wants to do it accurate. Because even if Lego were to do it, I don't think they would do it to that extent. Like that level of detail, that level of love. But I always promote, you could do a fictitious country.
Yeah, you
fighting an alien. Like
absolutely.
Cool. It doesn't have to be an F-22. It could be look like F-22.
Sure.
So that's when they did the Osprey. I was like, oh.
And it crashed.
Yeah.
Well, not literally crashed.
Well, not like that, but like, yeah.
The project crashed and burned.
So once I started the Brickmania thing, that was when the YouTube idea came on, and it kind of led to where I'm at today. So
very cool.
Very, very fun story, I guess.
It is a great story. We're not done yet. I do have another question. Everybody's journey, right? Mm-hmm. Lego's current catalog that's out. If they were coming to you and they're like, Shy, our portfolio isn't good enough aside from military. Mm-hmm. What would you like to see us make?
Bring back 90s classic Lego.
Yes.
Come on.
Thank you.
This is cool. I'm happy they did the Lanai's Castle. I'm happy about the new Imperial set that's coming out.
Yep.
I'm going to make I'm happy it's not idea set because those figures will come on online pick-a-build. Yep. That means you will one day see a regiment of Imperial soldiers out here, and it's going to be marvelous. But I think, all the kids who grew up in the 90s, early 2000s have that money.
That's where, and it's funny that you mentioned that because I was talking with somebody else earlier today out on the floor, and it's like, where do you think these action figure companies came from? These adult-centered action figure companies like Super 7 and all these Hasbro brands that are now making things that when you and I were younger, 90s, late 80s kids and stuff like that, the money's there for it. And they're like, I wanted this when I was a kid. I'm going to make it as an adult. Well, guess what? There's 7 million other adults that want the same thing.
And we have the funds to do so.
Exactly.
We will buy. Lego's definitely hitting the nostalgia game as hard as they can.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
To the point where it's like, hey, chill, I can't buy it all. And it's kind of cool at the point because a lot of us who came in the past 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, we're, as a new fan, when you come in here, your eyes are like wide open.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, they have this. So you're trying to like buy what's on the sales floor, and you're trying to go a little bit what you can get in the past. But even now, it's hard for people to be like, I don't have room for this. I want this. I can't afford it because I've already bought 3 big things these past 2 years.
Yeah.
Or past 2 months, or 2 weeks, or 2 days. And then, you want to get everything. And it's really starting to make Lego fans more selective. like, you know, more conscious about what they will and will not buy. So it does worry me that if they put too much out there, and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to grab as many people to come in as possible, which is great. You know, rising tides and more, more ships. That's great. And it helps us all. But, you know, bringing it back to nostalgia, I think will kind of help that out a little bit, because you don't have to. You know, you're gonna get a lot of people who are like, oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
That's cool. You have that again. Oh, so you're not like, you're getting true fans of the hobby. You're not just getting these one-off sets that you're buying. You know,
you're getting that, and then Lego's like, wait, all their money is going to this somebody that is selling theirs on eBay. Why don't we just make it and bring all the money this way?
Exactly.
And that's where the acquisition of Bricklink came.
There you go. Yeah. Oh my God. So technically, Lego's making military sets because they're, you know, Bricklinks.
Of course.
Brick made it buys all through.
Yeah.
But you know, but having 90 sets or like the early, you know, 2000, I guess you would say, you know, when it's generally, I mean, it's not like a new, you know, unlicensed thing they have now. Nothing against Dreams or anything. I like Dreams. I like what it's doing. I'm happy that it's not app based. It's like a new theme. You know, I love that. The creativity is cool, but there was just something about just a simple castle, a simple pirate, a simple town that is, you can make it look beautiful. And in the last set that that was announced it's beautiful. I was wondering how they were going to do the base plate. Yeah. And they made it look like it was a base plate.
And they did. Yeah.
And that in itself is like, it's a reminder of youth and innocence and, you know, just being a boy or a girl and just playing pirates. Yeah. You know, and that's
getting on the floor.
Yeah,
good guys versus bad guys, or good guys running whatever. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And it, you know, nothing against Star Wars in itself or anything like that. No, I love Star Wars. I love Star Wars Lego. But Star Wars is a visual media before it became book, before it became Lego. Yes. So it started in the visual world, whereas in Lego Classic, it wasn't like that. Right. It was, you start from the brick and you turn into the visual, and like it was like, you know, you can say that now with like YouTube and whatever they put on, you know, any type of media, but it takes it back to the roots of it. And I think it's a good reminder when like parents like myself who doesn't want their kids on the screen all the time. Right. You know, like if you buy a Star Wars set, you're gonna probably want to watch Star Wars while you're building it. Right. You know, like it's cool, but like to find a reason for children to be, not necessarily be like us, but like find a reason to play. You know, the real true nature of what Lego wants is play well. 90s Lego was like the golden age.
It was the golden era. Yeah. It was the golden era. They're trying to scratch that itch a little bit.
I know they can't. It's probably not feasible financially, but I understand.
They're going after a different demographic.
Yeah. And that demographic makes the money to make them do stuff like that. So you know what? If you want to keep making Captain American shields, go for it.
Just give me a little something on the side.
Give me 2 or 3 sets a year. You know, large. That's cool, but maybe a battle pack every now and then, or just put on bricks and online pick a building. I'll be fine.
Right. Yeah. Well, Shai. Shout us out where people can find you. Whether they want to watch your YouTube, they want to see the ongoings of your whatever things you put on social media. So where can people find you at?
You can find me everywhere. Shy Time is my time. Instagram, YouTube. I don't really do Twitch, but I guess I have one there. TikTok, I guess. But also Cali Brick Click is the podcast that I do with Plastic Architect and Ninja with the Bricks.
Awesome. So check Shy out on all those platforms, guys, and just see what he's up to. And we'll have you back on.
Oh, again, most definitely. Without a doubt. This is cool. This was fun. I like this. This is the most professional podcast I've ever been in my life. This is so cool.
We'll be in talks. I'll have my people call your people.
Okay, for sure. We'll make that happen. I promise.
Shy, thanks for coming on, bud, and we'll see you again in the future.
All right, man. Thank you.
Well, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up the episode with Shy. Got to hear a lot about that really cool build, the story behind his YouTube channel, everything. It's always great to hear where people come from, how they get to where they currently are, and where they potentially see themselves going in the future. As far as some of the topics that we heard today, if you are somebody that is struggling with any sort of mental health concern, whether that be a veteran or a non-veteran, please make sure that you reach out and get help from a professional. If you don't want to talk to anybody initially, you can always text or call the number 988. It is the national number here in the United States to be able to get through to somebody. And they will most likely ask you at some point whether you're a veteran or not. However, make sure you get that help. And Shai, thank you so much for putting a spin on this today. That was super positive and incredible. And that's going to wrap it up. So until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.